The AC Infinity self-watering base. I'm sure you've seen this before. I'm going to talk to you about what I like about it and what I don't like, and maybe some creative ways to use it. This is the small one. They make two different sizes. This is the small one that is designed for 5-gallon grow bags. So we're looking at 3 1/4 height. With that bulb, we're looking at, I want to say 4 3/4. The diameter, we're looking at 13 3/4. And if we're including those two little nubs on the side, we're at 16 5/8 right there. The center holes here are 10 inches right there. And that's for the string. And they give you another set of holes in case you're using a smaller grow bag. It's probably a 3-gallon right there. So the string can come to the edge underneath. But these holes are for the 5-gallon grow bag. And basically how it works is you fill water up in the bottom, which you can do right here. They give you this little port here, so it's easy to fill water in. And the water is a reservoir, holds 1 gallon, and the string is dangling in the water. And the water, it's a wicking system, and the cotton strings, the water wicks through the cotton string, and the cotton string becomes saturated. And the grow bag sits on top, and the bottom of the grow bag gets wet from the string, and it absorbs through the grow bag and into the soil, probably an inch or 2 from the bottom. This way the roots will travel down, they'll actually grow through the grow bag, and they'll attach themselves to the rope. And then this way the plant can absorb what it needs, and all you have to do is fill the reservoir. They give you this tray and the top plate, and this is a little spacer that just pops right in there. And then this guy just pretty much sits on, and this can hold up to 100 pounds. This is awesome. This is pretty much my #1 thing of what I love about these. This water gauge here, it's got a minimum and a maximum, and there's a little, you can see it in the middle there, it's like a straw, and it just pops right in there. And as you fill it up, that straw lifts up so you can tell when you're done filling it, and from a glance how much water is left in the reservoir. These are sold in packs of 4, and I think it's very reasonably priced. They're about $15 each. I've seen some reviews saying they don't give you a lot of string. I disagree. This is the string that I had left over after cutting all 8 pieces. I just cut enough so that the string was dangling in the water, and it was, you know, resting on the bottom a little bit. And these strips are 26 inches. So they definitely give you enough for 8 strips of 26 inches. You can make them a little bit longer. That's the leftover stuff there. So no issue with that. I think it's a great solution for people that go on vacation a lot, so they don't have to ask someone to water their plants. The bigger one, I think, holds 2 gallons of water. I don't really go away that much. I did go away recently for 4 days and filled these up, and they were totally fine. So that was great, and I think for that purpose, it's definitely worth it. So let's talk about what I love. I mentioned it before, the gauge. That's a really, really nice feature. I like that a lot. Pop that in there. You can use 1 string if you want, if 2 is too many. So I like it. I used them for about 2 months, but then I stopped using them, and I'll tell you why a little bit later on. Let's talk about what I don't like about it, and then we'll talk about some enhancement requests. Like I said, these are made for 5-gallon grow bags. Now this one is a 5-gallon grow bag, and it's a little bit, you know how sometimes the grow bags are a little wider and some are a little taller and whatnot. This one is about 12.5 inches. And as you can see, when I put it on, it kind of goes over the side into the edge there. The 5-gallon grow bag from AC Infinity is 10.8 inches. So even their 5-gallon, let's call it 11 inches, even their 5-gallon is pretty much going to come right to the edge of this lip right here. And as we know with fabric grow bags, one of the reasons why I hate these things is that when you're watering, the water shoots out of the side like an unstoppable rebel force, and it drips down the bag. And sometimes it comes down with fervor. I don't know why I want to say that word, fervor, with force. And it comes down and it splashes, and sometimes it goes over. The other thing is that the grow bags are not always perfectly round. So you might have a piece of grow bag that sticks over the edge a little bit more, and then some have these flange like this one has this flange, so the water comes down, hits the flange, and spills all over your grow tent. So that's kind of a pain. I wish they would make these a little bit bigger, but saying that, I would splurge a little extra money and just go for the bigger ones. There's really no downside other than, the extra width. If you're only using 5-gallon bags, the base is going to be wider, so that's going to take up more room, but you don't have to worry about the bag spilling over. The roots are going to grow through, and they're going to attach to the string. AC Infinity recommends something like every month you should pry the bag up so that the roots don't get attached, and you can always remove the bag if you need to. I don't really like that. I don't like disturbing roots that much, so it is what it is. They also recommend cleaning it out every month too, which I find just kind of a pain in the ass. Another thing is the holes along the edge. I think they could have made them bigger. I don't know why they're so small. They don't really drain all that well, so if your bag is right to the edge and you're filling it in, the water hits the bag and still spills over. It doesn't drain as quickly as you want. So these holes could have been made bigger. And another thing are these little, these little nubs that come out. Obviously this is for the gauge, and this is for the water intake when you're pouring it in. Most grow tents open from the front, and I would love to have this right here for easy filling. But that means that my gauge is going to be blocked by the plant. So obviously that doesn't help either. So I kind of have to do this on the side. I kind of do a little, like that. This way I can get to this easy enough, and I can sort of peek around and see that. I don't know why they just didn't put these next to each other, or just have one little thing with this guy in the middle and put holes around it so it serves both purposes, filling in and the gauge. And it's right there in front. Problem solved. The other downside, obviously, is it's going to add a little bit of height to your plant. What did I say that was? 4 inches or whatever. So if you have space constraints in your grow tent, it's going to add 4 inches to your height. So keep that in mind. The biggest problem, which is the main reason I stopped using it, was because I like to use organic fertilizers. And I have a whole bunch here that I want to continue using. Agro Thrive and the Dr. Earth. This has like a 3-pack or whatever. And these guys, which you can kind of see here, it's like a thick brown molasses type liquid. And I didn't realize it. I was pouring it inside the plant, I was pouring it on the soil, the mixture of fertilizer, and it was going through the soil, and it was draining in the reservoir. And I thought, okay, that's cool. The roots can soak it up as well. But I didn't realize that after a month, I started to smell this foul and putrid odor coming from the grow tent. So I happened to look inside, and I saw the most nastiest, disgusting, like gremlins hatching substance in here. It was disgusting. It was vile. So and it was really smelly. It was like bubbling up. So I realized this isn't going to work. So any type of like thick, natural, most organic fertilizers also are made from animal byproducts. So if you think about that, you don't want that sitting here. It's really going to get nasty. So for that, I had to switch to my Fox Farm trio of newts, which are synthetic. They're more liquidy. And as you can see, this is the residue that was left from this. So these definitely work if you do the synthetic. Otherwise, if you do organic and it's a thick brown sludge, I do not recommend it. The other thing to consider too, which I didn't consider, was that as I was fertilizing my plants once a week, the excess was draining into the reservoir. And the following week, I would fertilize again, and basically the reservoir was getting more and more concentrated with fertilizer because the plant wasn't using all of the water every week in between feedings. So after about a month, I realized I had a crazy concentration of newts. My plants were super dark green and they started bugging out on me. And I realized I was giving them way too much fertilizer. So keep that in mind when you're fertilizing. Make sure your plants are taking what they need, and just be conscious of over-fertilization. And like I said, the roots are going to attach to the string. If you're rotating the plant, you have to rotate the entire base. Don't just rotate the plant because you're going to pull the string right out of it, right there. Here's another use too. If you don't like fabric grow bags, which honestly, I'm not a huge fan of them. They do have their own unique purpose though. I won't get into that here, but if you wanted to use, let's say, a plastic pot, this is a 6 1/4 gallon plastic pot, you can do it and it will work. What you do is, obviously this guy has plenty of holes on the side, and if it doesn't, make your own holes. I just put the strings inside the bucket, then fill your bucket up with your soil. You got these little dangly guys coming out, and you can do more than 2. You can do 3 or 4, however you need. Put the bucket on there, and then I had to drill, just to make it easier for myself. This isn't the one, but I drilled larger holes in the side here, and then I just fed it right through into the side. And it works the same way, except the string is now inside the soil and the plant can take what it needs. You can treat the bottom as just like a big saucer, or have the best of both worlds by leaving the string out, and if you happen to go on vacation, then you can fill up the reservoir and put the string in and use it like that for when you go away as a self-watering system. And then when you get back, pull the strings out. If you don't want to keep using it like that, water like you normally do, use it as a drip tray, and you get the best of both worlds. So honestly, I think it's a great investment. I think they're reasonably priced. I think they're versatile. You can use them in a lot of different ways. So I think it's a win. Let me know what you guys think.